I'm talking today with John Porter about what is an interesting and oftentimes controversial subject, which is organic, natural, non-GMO, GMO, touch the earth lightly, all of these different terms we use to describe both the products that we use in our landscapes, the food we eat, and the seeds we sow. So John, can you tell us the differences in the levels of organic certification, or are there differences?
Yeah, if you look at a label, you might see different versions of organic on there. And so it can be really important to know the difference. So sometimes you might just see organic, and that may or may not have some sort of certification, someone behind it actually certifying that it is organic. Now, I will say that a lot of local small farmers might use the term straight organic because the certification process can be expensive and long-term. So a lot of them forego that, and you basically have to have that relationship with them to know, are they telling the truth or not? Then you might see certified organic, and there are sort of third-party organizations out there that will go around and certify organic farms or organic producers. So they might have their own set of criteria. And then you have USDA certified organic, and that's a set of criteria that comes down from the USDA that says you have to use these certain materials and practices. And so we have those certifiers that will go out and make sure that they're USDA certified. So I think that's the level of sort of least to most certification there, and that's what you can see on all those different labels.
So John, what about the word natural as applied to products, or GMO versus non-GMO?
So natural really doesn't have a real definition. There's no actual USDA definition. So companies can really use that however they want. And so there's not really something set that it really means. It can be pretty meaningless for some time. So, you know, if you're really wanting organic or some earth-friendly type of practice, look for the organic label rather than natural, because that can be misleading sometimes. Now, for the non-GMO versus the GMO, which is a big topic of contention, so I'll first say that a better term to use for that is genetically engineered, because a lot of people sort of misuse the term GMO to mean anything that's a hybrid or has some sort of genetic variation. And I could say that all humans are GMO because we are a hybrid of our parents' genes, and everything is a GMO because it has been crossbred at some point. But genetic engineering means that we've used some sort of laboratory technique to insert or extract genes for some sort of trait. And so we look at those, and we have non-GMO versus GMO, and I think there's a lot of confusion there. Consumers have sort of been misled a little bit in some ways, because a lot of the stuff that is labeled non-GMO really doesn't need that label, because it has no counterpart that really exists. So lots of our fruit and vegetable seeds and plants, there are no GMO versions of it. So we look at that and we want to make sure that we know exactly what we're getting, and maybe look at those labels, because sometimes that non-GMO label is put on there just so that the store can charge a little bit more money for it.
What exactly are you going to tell people about using these products in their landscapes? How should they make those decisions?
Right, so I think, looking, if they want to be sort of an organic gardener or low impact gardener, doing integrated pest management to avoid the problems in the first place is the best solution. And then don't be afraid. So a lot of people think that the term organic means that there's nothing ever sprayed on it, and that actually isn't true, especially in the grocery store. But even in the home garden, there are products that can be used to deal with diseases and insects. So if you're wanting to grow at home in an organic way, look for those products that have that listing. A lot of them are derived from natural products like plants or bacteria, or even minerals from the ground. So that's where I would focus on. There are organically certified seeds, but I think that isn't as big of an issue, because how much actual pesticide, if there was some sprayed on that plant, is going to come through that seed? It's not very much. Now, if you're doing organic certified, then yes, it is. But for home gardeners, I wouldn't worry about that. And then for the non-GMO versus the GMO, most of the things we grow in the home garden do not have a genetically engineered counterpart. So if you look at a seed label and you say, I have to have a non-GMO tomato, well, guess what? all tomatoes are non-GMO. So don't be misled by that label thinking that you have to pay $5 for this pack of non-GMO tomato seeds versus, the $2 for the pack of non-GMO tomato seeds that are just as well. So I wouldn't even worry about that for home gardeners because they're not available to home gardeners.
Thanks, John. I think that will really help our audience understand the differences between those terms and then make some good decisions about products, food, and what they're going to use in their landscapes.